A very warm welcome to all of you. Let me introduce myself. I am Himani. I'm the brand marketing manager here at Cambrian Bioworks, and I'll be your host for today's webinar. We have a really exciting topic lined up today. We'll be diving into the challenges and best practices for stool DNA extraction. We'll start with a brief introduction to Cambrian Bioworks so you get a sense of who we are and what we do. Our current focus line is majorly on making nucleic acid extractions more efficient with a lot of diagnostic sample types, including stool, which will be the key focus for today. From there, we'll talk about stool sample applications with a special focus on how long read sequencing is changing the game for microbiome analysis. We'll break down the current hurdles that the labs might be facing and how our offerings might help the labs to overcome those challenges. All of this would be covered by our product marketing manager, Deeksha Suresh. We also are very thrilled to have Mr. Kumar Shankaran, the CEO of Leucine Rich Bio, joining us. Mr. Kumar has been working in the field of microbiome for over a decade, and Leucine Rich Bio is one of the first companies in Southeast Asia which works in microbiome analysis. He'll be sharing his insights and his experiences, and also how microbiome research is shaping the future of diagnostics. We will then have the floor open for a live Q&A session. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them down in the chat below and we'll address them towards the end. I will now hand over the entire thing to Deeksha. Take it on, please.
Hi, hello everybody. I hope you can hear me clearly. Uh, Thank you, Himani, for the introduction. I'm very excited to be speaking today about Cambrian products and the interesting field of uh, DNA extraction from stool samples for microbiome sequencing. So, to begin with, to give you an introduction about our company, Cambrian Bioworks, the company was founded in 2020. Our headquarters is in Bangalore. We build, design, develop, and manufacture all our products in our factory in Pina. We have a focus on developing reagents for molecular diagnostics workflows as well as devices that automate these workflows. Currently, we serve customers in pan India, and we also have a few customers in the international space. Our team consists of multidisciplinary. Our team is multidisciplinary in the sense that we are a team of biologists, scientists, and engineers. While we started off with building reagents for molecular diagnostics, a natural next step, having multiple engineers on the team, was to automate these workflows. Uh, the applications that we empower with our products include whole genome sequencing, liquid biopsy, pharmacogenomics, molecular oncology as well, which is a big area of focus for us, infectious disease testing, point of care testing, and more. How we empower these applications are through our two devices. The Beluga, which is a recent launch, it is a liquid handler system that gives you a sample to a result. It can perform DNA extraction, quantification, as well as PCR prep. This product was launched very recently in February. However, another product that some of you on this call might have already seen is the Manta. It is a nucleic acid extractor based on the based on the magnetic bead system, and it automates nucleic acid isolations for a multitude of samples. It can accommodate varying samples from blood, body fluids, FFP, tissue, and more. Coming to our other products, of course, we have the reagents that support these platforms in the form of pre-filled cartridges. So your pre-filled cartridges, as I mentioned, for blood, body fluids, FFP, tissue, saliva, as well as stool. While that is one product, another one that we manufacture is the CamSelect NGS, which are beads for DNA size selection and PCR cleanup, as well as collection kits that include saliva collection buccal swabs and DBS cards. Now, to start our webinar for today, which is isolating DNA from stool samples for microbiome sequencing, I would like to start by talking about what we can deduce from the microbial analysis of these stool samples and what are the implications in terms of health that can come out of this. So, just a moment. So, from the microbiome analysis of stool samples, we are able to deduce the taxonomic composition of the sample, which determines the types and quantities of different microbes that are present in that particular sample. We can also deduce the microbial diversity, which assesses the richness and the evenness of a microbial community. We'll talk about this a little bit later into the presentation. But there are various measures and quantities that you can, the way you can quantify this, there are multiple parameters. Coming to the functional analysis of the DNA extracted from stool samples, you can sort of identify the functional capabilities of that particular microbial community. You can include the virulence factors and the antibiotic resistance genes as well as metabolic pathways. All of these can be understood from the microbial analysis. The change in a microbial composition in a particular gut microbiome over a period of time can be monitored as well. So this is useful when you're monitoring the effects of any interventions on the gut microbiota, be it diet or medications or environment or more. And coming to AMR, you can, of course, identify and track antimicrobial resistance genes within a microbial community. So it helps you understand the spread and the evolution of antibiotic resistance. Now, once you have all of these analysis and based on user feedback and literature, we find that the gut microbiome analysis has implications for the following conditions. Basically, your cardiometabolic diseases, which can span across insulin concentrations and more. So you can identify the impact of dietary interventions in these diseases. Neurological conditions such as Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, and autism spectrum disorder has been correlated to gut-derived metabolites. Mental health disorders such as depression and chronic stress as well, they have been correlated to the gut microbiota. As liver diseases and kidney diseases have been associated with these metabolites as well. And of course, hepatocellular carcinoma has been linked to has been linked to gut microbiome. And the metabolic disorders such as obesity and gastro-related disorders also have roots going into the gut microbiome. Now, I don't want to start an age-old debate of whether short-read sequencing or long-read sequencing is better as an application. But it does depend on the particular application that you're looking at. However, for microbiome sequencing, based on, again, user feedback and literature, we find that long-read sequencing does have a lot of benefits, and we'll be exploring them in the next 2 slides. So the first and foremost thing, you get a better taxonomic resolution in the sense that you can go down to even the species or the strain level with long read sequencing. For example, even the full length 16S rRNA gene can be sequenced with the long read technology. There is the scope for enhanced functional annotation. So long reads enable more accurate functional profiling since it covers entire genes and operons. This sort of leads to improved annotation of these metabolic pathways, such as AMR and virulence factors like we discussed earlier. So with long-read sequencing, we also see an improvement in the genome assembly, wherein you get more contiguous and complete metagenome assembled genomes. So It reduces the fragmentation and allows for better recovery of microbial genomes. Uh, Coming to the representation of complex microbiomes, stool samples, as we know, contain a highly diverse and complex microbial communities. So long reads tend to be better suited for resolving this diversity, just for the plain reason that it can span repetitive regions and the reads aren't cut short for the assembly of the genome. So, in this particular image as well, the three unique segments that are shown are A, B, C in blue, yellow, and green, and three copies of a repeat are in red. So, if the read length is shorter than the repeat region, which is on the left, then the corresponding assembly graph will contain only about 4 contigs. And it connects them, but in an ambiguous order. However, with long read, of course, there will the reads sort of span these repeats. So the graph won't sort of branch, rather it will be a single long contact that will span the entire genome. Coming to the challenges in working with stool samples, uh, as you all might know very well, the presence of inhibitory substances in the stool samples, such as food residues or medications, can pose a challenge in recovery. Insufficient lysis of the sample, especially when there is, of course, gram positive bacteria present, which requires a more robust lysis method, that also poses a challenge. Deterioration of sample as well, wherein when samples are stored for a longer time, the it and used also over a longer time, after a few freeze thaw cycles, you see a deterioration in recovery. And turnaround time with existing platforms available also tend to be on the higher side. This is where I'd like to introduce our automated stool DNA extraction kit. It is a magnetic bead based kit. The protocol involves bead beating for efficient lysis. We also have a specialized buffer system that ensures that all the inhibitors are removed in the lysis step itself. The input for this kit is homogenized stool sample that can be retrieved from any collection kit, and the total protocol time, including the pre-processing as well as the time on the automation, comes up to about 1 hour 15 minutes. I'll just take you through the protocol. uh, we start off with sorry yeah we start off with 300 microliters of the sample. This can be in any collection kit that you might be using that are commercially available. 300 microliters of sample is added to a 2 ml microcentrifuge tube. To the sample, we add 60 microliters of proteinase K and 500 microliters of the STLB buffer that we provide, which is the stool lysis buffer. This mixture is vortexed for 30 seconds and incubated at 56 degrees for 15 minutes on a shaker incubator. Upon completion of the incubation, you then go into a bead beating step. Here, 3 stainless steel beads, which are included in the kit, are added to each tube, and the bead beating process is 40 seconds on and 20 seconds off for a period of 5 minutes. Once bead beating is complete, we centrifuge the tubes at 14,500 RPM for 5 minutes. Once the centrifugation is complete, the supernatant is transferred into another tube, and 200 microliters of STPB, which is stool pretreatment buffer, is added. This mixture is again incubated at 56 degrees for 10 minutes on a shaker incubator, upon which it is incubated on ice for 5 minutes, which is between 2 to 8 degrees. Um, the sample is again centrifuged at 14,500 RPM, and the supernatant is transferred to the first well of the cartridge. So, as I was mentioning, the kit is an automated stool DNA extraction kit, wherein the rest of the steps of the protocol, which includes binding, wash, and dilution, happens on the machine. So, the cartridge that you're seeing on the screen right now, the first well, which is the leftmost well, is contains the binding buffer. The second well contains the magnetic beads. The third, fourth, and fifth wells contain the wash buffers, and elution finally happens in the sixth well. So, with this kit, we elute in 50 microliters of elution buffer. Once the lysate is loaded into the first well of the cartridge, it is simply placed into the machine. So, the USP here, what we offer, which is a unique feature here, is the fact that you can run any number of samples. The total throughput which the machine can handle is 32. However, if you get either one or two or how many ever samples, you can run exactly the number of samples you get in a day. So there is no minimum threshold. You can run any number between 1 and 32 samples at once. Now, coming to the experiment design, and just as a preview to all the data that we'll be discussing moving forward, the collection kits that were used for this particular study was from Azuka and Zymo. The downstream application that we have evaluated for this particular study is long-read DNA sequencing using the PromethION platform. The parameters that we've considered is DNA yield, purity, which is 260 by 280 purity, the DNA integrity numbers from the tape station analysis, the N50 read length from the PromethION platform, as well as the Shannon index. Coming to the DNA yield and purity, for this particular study, we have considered a sample set of 42 samples, and the total DNA yield depicted here is in micrograms, not nanogram per microliter. However, as I mentioned earlier, we do elute in 50 microliters. As a trend, we have seen that the total DNA yield tends to lie between the range of 4 to 20 micrograms. This is, of course, sample dependent. However, lysis is very effective, and we have been able to recover the maximum DNA in that particular sample. The A260 by 280 purity ratio is in the standard range between 1.7 to 2. There might be a few changes in this particular range, as in it might go to 1.6, but this is of course dependent on the sample, and as we know, each sample is very different, and the age and the storage of these samples also come into play. Coming to the tape station analysis of the samples, as you can see, we have been able to isolate high molecular weight DNA above the size of 10 kb. And in a few cases, we have seen isolation around 60 kb as well. The DNA integrity numbers on an average are between 7.6, 7.7 to 7.9. In a few cases, we have seen integrity numbers above 8, 8.5 as well. The range, you can also observe a distribution of the sizes isolated here. The peak is for the DNA above 10 kb in this particular case, and while we have isolated high molecular weight DNA, we have also not omitted any of the lower size fragments, which does make it useful for other applications such as short read sequencing and more. Coming to the N50 read lengths that we have observed, we have been able, as we all know, higher N50 values indicate longer and more contiguous reads, which means that there is lesser fragmentation and it sort of reduces the number of contigs that again lead to less fragmented assemblies. So apart from this, it also improves the misassembly detection. So with higher N50 values, you can expect fewer misassemblies as you go on with the process. We also see with higher N50s, we also see enhanced resolution of those particular repetitive regions. So the longer the reads are, the more effective it is at resolving those repetitive regions, which are again common in many genomes. So as an average, we were able to observe of about 2000 base pairs of which is the average N50 read length. While this is where we are at right now with the kit, we are still optimizing it for a higher N50, and that is underway as we speak. Coming to the Shannon index and species abundance. So, the Shannon index takes into account your species richness, and which is the number of species that are present, and the species evenness, which is how evenly individuals are distributed amongst those species. So, this has implications in metabolic studies and disorder studies that we discussed earlier. So, the Shannon index, as you would define it, is a quantification of the diversity of a microbial community. So, the image that you see on the left is taken from a particular study wherein the species richness was constant throughout the three cases. However, the evenness varied. So, in community A, there was perfectly even. It was a perfectly even community wherein the abundance for across species was the same. However, in community B, there was moderately uneven species abundance observed. And finally, in community C, that's when you observe a highly uneven distribution. So that's when one particular individual or one particular species is dominating the rest. So this, as I mentioned, has implications on your health, and it can help with the diagnosis as well as the therapy routes that can be prescribed. So a higher Shannon index, what we can take away from this is that a higher Shannon index generally indicates greater microbial diversity. So, how this links to your DNA extraction is the fact that when there is efficient lysis, there is efficient recovery of DNA. And when there is efficient recovery of DNA, you observe a higher diversity of microbes. Now, with uh, what we have observed for microbial sequencing is that for microbiome analysis, the typical range for Shannon index is between 2.5 to 4.5. This is again has been taken from literature. Uh, Now, compared to the competitors, we have been able to obtain a higher Shannon index in the genus and the species level. So, again, to put things into perspective, in terms of the graph that is shown here, the higher ranks like kingdom and class, and kingdom, phylum, and class, because there are lesser number of groups, there are only 5 kingdoms, it's not the best. It cannot give you the best insights to consider it for those particular taxa. However, when you go deeper and lower into genus and species, that's when there are more groups and there is a higher sensitivity to these diversity changes. So that is a better read to consider for correlation with your functional outcomes. Coming to the comparison data with the competitor kit, as compared with company A, we have obtained higher N50 read lengths across samples. This has proven to be a useful parameter, especially when considering long read sequencing as a downstream application. So we have seen our users have reported lesser fragmented assemblies as a result of this. So, while the scope of this discussion was limited to long read sequencing, we see applications spanning PCR and 16S rRNA sequencing and AMR studies, as well as whole genome sequencing. When you compare the requirements and how the kit is currently performing, we see it to be a very strong fit. So, we are optimistic about validating across all of these applications as well. And if any of you are interested to validate this with us, please reach out after this webinar. And that's it. That brings me to the end of this presentation, and I'm handing it back to Himani now to continue with the webinar. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Thank you so much, Diksha, for such an insightful session. It's now time to bring in our guest speaker, Mr. Kumar Shankaran. He's the CEO of Leucine Rich Bio. Leucine is South Asia's first microbiome company, and their work is shaping how we understand the role of microbiome in disease, wellness, and personalized medicine. Mr. Kumar, welcome to the show. Can you hear me, sir?
Thank you, Himani, for inviting me. Pleasure to be here.
Okay, thank you so much for taking out the time to join us today. To set the stage, I think we can start with a little bit of introduction. Could you tell us a bit more about Leucine Rich Bio and its journey in the microbiome space, sir?
Sure. So for the last 10 years now, we've been researching and developing products around the microbiome, especially in the India and the South Asian region. So we have a gut microbiome profiling kit. Along with that, we also do a lot of microbiome-based experiments and clinical studies.
Right. Oh, that's wonderful, sir. So microbiome research has gained significant momentum over the years, and we now understand that the gut health plays crucial role in everything from metabolism to mental health. From your perspective, what are some of the biggest advancements in this field today?
I think one of the biggest advancements in the field is that we've now begun to understand the microbiome much better, its implication on lifestyle diseases and in general health, and how by modulating the microbiome you could bring about changes in one's health. The advancements that have been done in the last few years, especially in the last 4 to 5 years now, has been tremendous. But there's still scope for more research that needs to go into this area. I think all the world's knowledge combined, we probably understand less than 10 to 15% of the gut microbiome. So I think there's still a lot more discovery that needs to be made, which could translate to better healthcare for us.
Right, right. Also, one of the key challenges in microbiome sequencing is obtaining high molecular weight DNA, right? Which is essential for long read sequencing and also deeper microbiome analysis. Can you share your insights on why high quality DNA is so important and how it might impact the microbiome research?
Definitely. I mean, when you're looking at the gut microbiome, you're looking at you're actually pulling out the organisms from fecal or stool samples, fecal samples are notorious for being very bad in terms of sample preservation, in trying to get the right amount of DNA for sequencing. Secondly, when we're looking at the microbiome, we're looking at all kinds of microbes. So that is bacteria, fungus, virus, and all microbes. So when you're looking to extract DNA, you have to be mindful that all these microbes have different kinds of cell walls. And there's going to be a difference between gram-positive bacteria versus gram-negative versus fungus. So ensuring that there is no biases and to get a good enough amount of DNA for any kind of sequencing is imperative. I mean, it's added to this challenge when we go into long read sequencing. There's always a push for getting a much better N50, there's I mean, there was a time when I think the community was happy with, say, 1,000 base pairs. Now it's gone to what, 2,500. But I don't think we'll be satisfied till till it goes much higher. But there's But getting that N50 higher and higher with as time goes by is quite critical.
Right, right. We're also very thrilled to see how Manta has been supporting some labs, including yours, in overcoming challenges like you mentioned, right? Um, could you maybe tell us a little bit about how you think Manta has helped, particularly your lab, in improving the entire workflow and the sort of results that you've seen?
Sure. So one is just the quality of the DNA that we get um, is probably on par, or I might even dare say superior to many other technologies that are out there. And even when you compare it with a single sample manual extraction, just on a one sample basis itself, there's a lot of uh, matters proving to be much better. Now with the influx of volume that we have and sudden growth of gut microbiome sequencing, and automation really helps. And this is where Manta's forte comes into play.
That's wonderful to know, sir. We wanted to make it really quick and concise. Thank you so much for all your great experiential questions, and it was wonderful to have you on, sir. We'll just quickly move on to the question and answers. The floor is now open to questions that any one of you might have. We have our R&D manager here, Jayita, to answer any of your stool-related questions. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat below. We do have one question here from Nivik. What applications have you looked at so far? Jayata, do you care to step in, please?
So application.
So application wise, I think for now we've only looked at sequencing, which is again the long read sequencing as of now with our current users. But we are definitely open to more demos and trials based on your requirement.
Okay, someone has commented excellent talk by Mr. Kumar. Also loved watching the episode. For reference, the link is for our podcast episode with Mr. Kumar Shankaran. We invited him as a guest speaker in our podcast series called Beyond the Bench, and it was a phenomenal episode for any of you guys to check it out. We have one more question from Mr. Nivik. Does your kit work with short read sequencing?
Um, hi, Mr. Nivik again. So again, there is no reason to believe it doesn't. We do extract short reads as well, as in short fragments as well. So again, we are open to try short read sequencing if that's what you're looking at. Please do contact us if you want to try our kits, and we'll be happy to demonstrate the same.
And to add on to what Jaita just mentioned, some of our users have used the kit for short read sequencing using the Illumina platforms, and we have heard good feedback from them as well. So, would love to take it forward.
Mr. Siva Kumar has a few doubts. Please feel free to comment them, sir. You can also unmute yourself and ask the question. Taking on Mr. Ajay's question, why you recommend 40S and 20S of beat beating?
Uh, hi, Mr. Rajar. So the reason is, I think, again, it was a trial and error method. So what we did observe was that we observed best results with the 40S on 40 seconds on and 20S off. It was also to avoid overheating the sample.
Generally, we tend to observe that when the sample is overheated, we lose some DNA in the process. We damage the nucleic acids. So, just to prevent this and to enable efficient lysis of even the gram positive bacteria, we have that has been the optimized metric so far. If Mr. Shivakumar Pandian could unmute and let us know what your questions are, that would be great. I see your hand is raised. You could type in your questions as well, because we'll be able to answer it through that platform.
In the meanwhile, taking on Mr. Nivik's question, are the sample kits available?
We do have sample kits available, yes. And we also actively do kit demos across different cities. So if a demo is something that you're looking for, you can please reach out to us through the email ID that's on the screen. If not, you could drop in your details now itself and we'll contact you after the webinar.
Thanks, Diksha. We have one more question. Using Cambrian stool gDNA as against whole blood gDNA kit, the magnetic bead ratio differs? If yes, that makes difference for long read and short read sequencing. Jeta, if you would care to.
Hi, Vijayashree. So is that a question? I'm a bit confused. So the thing is, the magnetic bead ratios again, that is proprietary information. But the composition is different overall, and we have kind of optimized it to extract DNA from the stool.
Yeah, hello. So can I ask my doubts?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So can you just go some previous slide, look at the Shaman index or something? So I want to see the slide.
Which one would that be?
Yeah, the Shaman index. You are giving an explanation, right, about that.
Yes.
No, the previous one. Yeah. So here you were explaining about. You will get a three different kind of population. You get right. So there is a even and uneven. So here you will get a main motto is like you have to capture all the microorganism from that population, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So is it 100% that you will get all the microorganism like that you will get? So any particular any kind of QC parameter anything is there for that? So how will you make sure that I have covered almost the entire microorganism or something based on which you will say?
Sure. Hi, Shiv Kumar. Thank you for the question. Again, to be honest, we don't have a QC criteria to particularly look at the Shannon index or kind of optimize it for that at the moment. But based on all the data that we have so far, and upon analyzing them, what we have presented here is a very small subset of the data. But based on everything that we have seen across the taxonomic range a better abundance of the microorganisms. And of course, as you can see from the index score itself, that it is higher as compared to our some of the competitor kits that we have compared it to.
What kind of kits?
Sorry?
No, you were talking about kits, right?
Yeah. Yes. So again, some of the competitor kits that we have used, we've compared it against those.
Okay.
Competitor in terms of extraction kit, if that wasn't clear.
Okay. So the machine you have shown, no. So that is so what is the running time of that? Because the same instrument like we have in high genome also they have an instrument like that. So same protocol, same prototype and same that cartridge also like that. So what will be the like what is the running time of that machine actually?
Right. So the runtime on the Manta is 30 minutes, and it's between. Right. So the runtime on the Manta, as I mentioned, is between 30 to 40 minutes. and in one go you can do up to 32 samples at a time.
Okay.
So
Okay, so 32 sample, that one cartridge is for one sample only, right?
that's right, yes. So you can run any number between 1 and 32. You need not run the entire batch of 32. You can run a single sample as well.
Okay, understood. Okay, so any other samples we can able to do with this? Like you have any kit apart from that
Apart from,
stool sample or something?
yes,
Any other, yeah, so any other kits and anything is available?
we have the kits for whole blood, uh, body fluids, fresh tissue, fresh or frozen tissue, that's one SKU. FFP tissue as well can be processed on the same machine, as well as.
If it is fresh tissue means, so what will be the pre-processing? How will you do pre-process the tissue?
Right. So, actually, great question. The reason we have kept the pre-processing outside the machine is so that you can accommodate different types of samples on the same run on the machine. Meaning, in the case of blood, whole blood, it is a short 10-minute lysis on a heat block. In the case of tissue, you would have to take 25 micrograms of the tissue and 25 mg of the tissue and take that into add the lysis buffer and incubate for about 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. So that is the only pre-processing for fresh frozen tissue. And the best part about this is that if your lab processes multiple samples and not just one type of sample, you can pool them on the same run on the machine, meaning you can run 2 blood samples, 2 tissue samples, and so on.
Okay. So my last question is, so usually the fecal sample, like if you're taking means, so there is a many incubators will be there. So you can't capture all the organisms at a time. Okay, that is very difficult. So you guys are using any incubator for that or something to preserve that microorganism or something?
Actually, I'm sorry, I didn't get your question. Could you repeat, please?
So usually when you are taking this stool sample or something, so in stool sample there is a lot of incubators will be there.
Right.
So that will destroy all the organisms. Like you will not get that. That's why we are not difficult to get that DNA. Okay. So in your kit, you guys are using any incubator for that to suppress those things, to get a good quality of DNA or something.
Yes. So we do have a step where we kind of concentrate on removing all the inhibitors present in the sample. So that takes care of, all the bile salts, all an urea-based inhibitor, all dietary fibers or heme products that are there. It will take care of all of those.
Okay. So which will be already presented in the kit, or we have to do it.
It's part of the kit. It's part of the protocol.
Okay. So it's a pass of kit. So that when we want to buy the kit means when we have to buy those things also, right?
No. So that will be all part of the kit. So once you buy the kit, you will get everything that's mentioned in the protocol will be present in the kit. You don't have to buy anything separately.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was
Thanks.
nice talking to you, Shiv Kumar.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thanks.
we have one more question here. Hi, Siba. Have you used your extraction kit and SOP in standard reference material? For example, the Zymo microbiome standards. And what was your recovery?
Hi, Siba. Can you just help me understand? So, when you mean Zymo microbiome standards, are you referring to not stool samples, but actually standards with particular concentrations of the microbiota? Okay, so no, we have not tried those. We have tried the Zymo tubes that are available for collecting the stool samples.
We have, however, validated the kit against competitor kits that are commercially available. We have obtained, our users have also reported good feedback when comparison to what they were currently using. But in case you require more information, we'd be happy to connect after this and send you some application notes that we have. We do have some more data that wasn't presented today, but that can definitely be shared with you once the webinar is over.
If we have any more questions, please drop them down in the comments. Okay, I think we have covered all the questions. Shivakumar, I think you have unmuted yourself. Do you have more queries?
Hello, yes, tell me.
Oh, you unmuted yourself. I thought you had more
Yeah, sorry, I
queries.
got to some other meeting. Sorry. Yeah,
Oh, it's okay, not a problem.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Okay, we have one more question. Have you tried a comparison with Kaya Amp Power Vehicle? Would you like to take this on, Jeta?
Hi. So yes, we have tried the Kaya. We have tried a comparison with the kit that you're mentioning.
And as I mentioned, we do have data with that as well, in terms of DNA yield and purity, as well as the N50 read lengths that came out of it. So, as I mentioned earlier, we'll be happy to send you this information over email. We'll send in our application notes and white papers that we have.
Yeah, so can I add my points with that? So because Kayam Power Vehicle Kit we are also using here actually. So the thing is that also in that kit also we are not getting that much enough DNA. So always
If I could just ask you a couple of questions about that. So you mentioned you're not getting enough quantity of DNA, or I mean, what are the pain points that you're currently experiencing?
so DIN actually we will get 6 5 something only. So the thing is so in that kit I don't think whether they have some inhibitors things because everything is a ready-made one and directly there is a start with a lysis step only. So in Power Vehicle Pro Kit. So and we are quantity also we used to get like almost below 10 or something only we used to get. So so that's why we are looking for other kit. Maybe if it's a look if getting good result, good DNA quantity,
Got it.
something like it. Yeah.
All right, perfect. Then we'll get in touch with you right after this call is over. We can schedule a demo for your lab in the upcoming week.
Yeah, sure.
All right, then.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. If you have any more questions, please feel free to drop them down in the comments. I think we have covered all the questions. Just want to say a big thank you to everyone who has joined in and participated. Before we wrap up, just a quick reminder, if you have more queries on stool DNA or other sample types, please feel free to reach out. We'll be more than happy to connect with you all. Let us know how you like the session. We are active on social media. With that, we'll close today's webinar. Thank you all for being here and have a great day ahead.